differences.
Right. Yes.
And the strange thing for me is at my Unitarian Universalist school, there's much conversation about Unitarian Universalism, and I keep trying to tell them, you know, there are other faiths beyond Unitarian Universalism, and Unitarian Universalism itself is a pluralistic faith. So we have to talk about Christianity, we have to talk about Buddhism, we have to talk about Judaism, we have to talk about a number of things. Islam also. I did my dissertation in Islamic studies. Assalamu alaikum to those who are here who are Islamic. So I did that. But there is a great fear of the other. Even in progressive schools, we root ourselves and anchor ourselves in our own stuff. And we don't recognize that rootedness and getting into that stuff really, you know, you really in some funk there. Because you're unwilling, for the sake of saying we better than the others or we got this, you're unwilling, there's this unwillingness to embrace other areas. So when you do progressive theology, progressive education, right, one has to be open to other faith traditions seriously. This is why as an academic dean, there is no syllabus that gets approved in our faculty meetings that does not include the works of Black and brown scholars and of people from other traditions. It's not even like we have to have a required Black liberation theology course. We have to have that in every class. In every class, you have to have a kind of diversity of thought. And I think that's the way to do progressive theological education. But if we who are up here represent anything, it is the fact that we have gone through a lot of stuff in order to be leaders in theological education, who are pushing the button on what it means to do education in these schools, because they're still institutions of higher education that are very resistant to change. And so we have to come in, and we do come in and push buttons. And it is for the sake of students and for the sake of the world. But, you know, as I've said to Tracy, every tradition says we got it. As United Methodists, when we were going through our stuff, everybody was saying, why don't you leave United Methodist Church? And go where? And go where there's not messiness. And so theological, when you talk about progressive theological education, to be done well, you have to be willing to deal and really, really put all of your intentions, someone said, all your faith with works into the creation of the kind of education that truly, truly embraces a variety of thoughts and traditions, and that's hard to get to.
It is, and even as you all are doing that, and I know for a fact that you're all doing it extremely well, from the other end, from the denominational end, I'm asking the question, and who's doing that in the churches? Because the people that are coming out of theological institutions, I'm going to tell you right now, many churches are not prepared for that. So even if the pulpit is empty, they just won't have a pastor. Right? So that's not on this panel, but I do want to put that out there because there are MIDs here, there are people who are trained, there are people who want to do this work, and it is incumbent upon those of us who are denominational bodies to prepare our churches. Right? Prepare our churches.
Not just the body, I just have to say this because I've heard this over and over again. And it hurts me as a scholar when students come in and they take courses without any intention of using what they learned in school. They're just there to get a degree, and they're in the hallway saying, "Oh, I can't take that to the church because my church is not ready for this, or my mosque is not ready for this." If they are not ready, why not? It's your responsibility to make them ready, to help them to get ready.
And to be able to lift up, I don't know, y'all may blast me for this, but if we really tell the truth, we've always been pluralistic. We just name it what we want to name it.
Absolutely.
So Big Mama was always conjuring while she, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to say something?
The example that comes to mind is St. Paul's Baptist Church in Philadelphia, where the Reverend Leslie Dawn Callahan is the senior pastor, the fifth pastor of a long 135-year-old church. I remember very distinctly when she came, and I was in Lancaster, and that became my home church. I went to support her, and she would say to those of us on the pulpit, you will use inclusive, expansive language regarding God, and you will use inclusive language regarding humans. You don't have a choice, period. Otherwise, you won't sit on this pulpit and do it. So for 6 months, she didn't teach about language. She modeled it. And I remember when Deacon Jackson got up, 78-year-old man got up, and he said manhood and corrected himself on the spot. Never once having a class, but having it modeled for him. So you ask me how you can change a church? Model what you want to see.
Come on now.